Hi everybody, Andrew Cherin, attorney at law here. I'm a Seattle personal injury lawyer and I represent people who are injured in car accidents. And today I want to talk to you about street racing and the liability for people who are injured in street racing. So if you're injured in a street racing accident, there are a number of parties that could be liable besides just the car that comes into contact with you. So street racing is also considered a conspiracy type crime, whereas both or all participants in street racing, illegal racing activity on city streets, are liable for the injuries that are caused based on what they have done. So if you're injured by someone that's street racing because they're racing someone and their car spins out, hits your car, them and the other person they're racing it are liable for your injuries that you suffered in that car accident. So you're entitled to medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering, and the whole gambit. So that both parties are liable to you individually and combined. So if one of those parties doesn't have insurance because of a theory of or a legal term in Washington State that's called joint and several liability. Each of those co-conspirators or each of those racers are liable because, in essence, they're both liable for your injuries because they conspired to do something that was negligent and led to your injury. So you could go after one or both of them, and if one of them doesn't have insurance, you can collect the full amount of your injury award from one of the racers, even though they're both 50% at fault or 80-20% at fault, because of a law in Washington called joint and several liability. Um, and that would come into play if there's more than one racer. So if just for, a lot of the times people that are racing may not be the most responsible people and they may not have insurance. So if one of them does have insurance, you're in luck and you can go after that policy. If they don't have insurance, or if you're not driving without UIM insurance, you may be out of luck. UIM insurance will cover you if someone driving hits you and they don't have insurance. So there's no insurance coverage that could cover your injuries. You may think, wait a second, well, why are they just going to be able to run scot-free without paying for my injuries that I suffered? Unfortunately, they don't have insurance, which means that you have to personally go after them. And yes, you could personally go after them and get $1 million award against this person, but you'll never see a dime of that because they will file for bankruptcy. They'll will never be able to pay that amount. There's a whole host of things that they can do that could distinguish their liability, or not really distinguish their liability, but just not be able to pay for it. A lot of people that don't have insurance, don't own property, they don't have significant assets that could cover your giant case. Any case over $100,000, typical person doesn't have $100,000 in their bank account, let alone $10,000 in their bank account, so that they're going to be able to cover your injuries. You're probably out of luck. With upwards of close to 20% of people driving around without insurance, you want to make sure you have UIM insurance and talk to your insurance agent about UIM insurance. It's very affordable and it's not that much to add a $200,000, $250,000 UIM insurance policy to your policy. So if you don't have it, talk to your insurance agent. If you want to know more about what insurance you actually need or to get, give me a call. I get free consultations, or you can visit my website, www.lawsharing.com, to figure out what insurance you actually need and what insurance is actually good to have. I have a couple of videos that talk about this all the time. But the number one thing you want to get really is UIM insurance. If you're going to get any of those policies, make sure you have insurance to cover you if you're injured by someone else. There's so many people that don't have insurance. Make sure you're covered. Um, yeah, and that's about it. If you want to give me a call, I get free consultations. My number is 206-850-6716.